So when we want to tap into our manifestation, it is about opening up that box and realizing there is no box. When you come from that place, there's nothing you cannot be, do, have, or create. You cannot not bring something into your universe. And so unless we take those baby steps, we're never going to get to what truly is going to stick. Today, we're going to talk about, again, all things manifestation and really tapping into one of the main sources of manifestation, and that's your inner creativity. You know, I have this genius course that we're going to be launching soon. It's tapping into your inner genius, and there are 5 faculties of your genius. And when I say genius, I really mean tapping into that unlimited possibility, that part of you that is so much greater than what you've been able to manifest, meaning show out to the world, and really puts you at the top 3 to 5% of every man, woman, and child that's walking around the planet. Actually, I'm gonna say, with the exception of children, children are born geniuses. Children are born geniuses. The amount of learning that they're capable of, and the amount of growth, and the input, and the evaluation, and the synthesis, and everything they're able to do up until the age of 5 and 6 is nothing short of genius. And what happens is we kind of train the genius out of them. So all of us were born geniuses, but we had that genius trained out of us. And it's because we got into these rigid rules. We were basically put in boxes. So when we want to tap into our manifestation, it is about opening up that box and realizing there is no box that we need to stay confined within, that everything is available to us. Creativity is one of those things that's available to us. Children are absolutely very creative. And what we want to do is tap back into that creativity. It's one of the geniuses, and it's truly the path to manifestation. There is a clear connection between creativity and manifestation. They're intimately linked. When we tap into our inner creativity, we access a powerful force that can bring our desires into reality. And so we want to understand that relationship and really start to open up that door and reconnect to our creativity, reconnect to that childlike part of us, because that childlike part of us has no limits, and it can see the possibilities. It can see things that have never been created before. And that's where everything gets created from. From nothingness, everything is created. And from nothingness, we tap into everything that's possible. So creativity is not limited to artistic expression. It is a fundamental aspect of human nature. And again, just watch a child make up stories and play. That's really the potential that we want to unlock within ourselves as well, so that we can align with our deepest aspirations. It's opening up that cavern of possibilities in our mind and tapping into the universal possibilities. So one of the things that we want to really embrace, again, is creativity linked to imagination, right? It's stepping fully into our senses. It's having a sensual experience. It's enticed, it's captivated, it's tantalizing. I don't know, it's one of those words, by our senses, and it's getting excited about that. And so it's really looking at, when we talk about the senses, what are we seeing? And then can you see beyond the physical reality? What are we hearing? Can you hear beyond the words that are being, and the sounds that are being, that are kind of obvious? What are we tasting? What are we smelling? What are we feeling? What are we experiencing? And so creativity is number one, tapping into a full sensory experience. So when you think about that, it almost makes sense to start to get in touch with our senses. It's how often, I used to own a restaurant, and one of my visions, one of my mission statement is I want people to connect and be enticed by all their senses. Why? Because most people are eating unconsciously. Most people drink unconsciously. It's like, how often do we sit down at our meal and we're just kind of shoveling food down our throat, at a wine bar. And it's like, people are drinking again unconsciously versus, when I was going wine tasting, which inspired me to open up this restaurant and wine bar, you're forced to slow down. You're forced to really, smell the aromas of the wine and really taste all the different combinations of flavors in the wine. It slowed people down. The food, when I had my restaurant, I had an amazing chef from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. It was incredible. And literally people would take a bite and they would just stop dead in their tracks. Like I would look across the room, people would be like, take a bite, and I could hear them, I could see the mouth. This is so good, because it stops you, it slows you down. And so starting to get in touch with what are those sensory experiences? How often do we go on a hike? I mean, just yesterday, I take walks every day. I take 3 walks just to get my mileage in because I'm usually at home and I don't like the treadmill at the gym. And I was walking and something told me to look up because, it's easy to just kind of stare down at the sidewalk. Something told me to look up, and I'm in Southern California. It's sunny, it's warm. And I looked up and there was this incredible rainbow. And I just thought, what a gift. Like, I just thank the universe, like, thank you for this rainbow. There was no rain. I mean, I don't know if you guys know something different, but I thought rainbows come after rain. I didn't know they just show up out of nowhere. But again, I never questioned the universe anymore. It was an opportunity. It was a knock on my head to say, look up and pay attention. Engage with the environment, engage with the world right now, because right now you're just focused on your steps and you're staring down and you're just, kind of going through the motions. And so when I looked up and not only was I graced with this gorgeous rainbow, like I could just see all of a sudden the colors of the sky with the orange and the pink and the blues and purples and greens. It was just so miraculous. And that just forced me to stop and take a deep breath. And that in itself connects you with unlimited possibilities. It connects with the universe. It connects you with the wonder of the world. I don't know what I was thinking about before then, but all I was thinking about after that was just gratitude, love, peace, joy. That taps me into the higher vibration. And when we're at that higher vibration, then ideas come, inspiration comes. We start to become a magnet to all things good in the universe. And so we have to catch ourselves. As I always joke with my clients, you guys know me, like I always say, as enlightened as I like to think I am, which is kind of sarcastic, it's, we all forget, right? We're always going through those reminders we require because we're human. We're human. And so that's number one is, can you slow down and start to connect with the information that's coming through your senses? So when you see something, really see it. When you hear, and I'm just being reminded right now, I don't even know if I paid attention to any sounds as I was walking yesterday, and that's something that I'm going to pay attention to today in my walks is you are going to hear the birds singing or the wind rustling through the trees, or the sound of your foot on the footsteps, or even the thump of your heart, beating as you're walking through, and the taste, slow down when you're eating, slow down when you're drinking, and really take those in, really be present. Your feeling, your experiences, a lot of the conversations with my clients have been around, what are you experiencing in your body? And that connects us to our true nature. And so again, how often do we just like, oh, I'm mad, and that's it. We generalize everything. No. What are you really feeling? I'm feeling the pit in my stomach, and there's a fear right now, and it reminds me of a betrayal possible betrayal, or, again, whatever it is. And being able to connect with that part of you is so powerful and so deep and so important. And again, connects you to all that is, and I'm going to bring it full circle, because I kind of hear the thought of, well, what does this have to do with manifestation? It connects you with all that is. And all there is manifestation. When you come from that place, there's nothing you cannot be, do, have, or create. You cannot not bring something into your universe. All of a sudden, you become part of the universe. And then anything that you think, anything that you desire starts to look for you. And the more you're tapped into that level, the faster it gets drawn into your experience, into your physical sensory experience, because we can have a thought about it. We can think about it, we can put it out into the universe, but it's not, it's like I can say I want this, private yacht. Yeah, but it's not parked in my backyard yet, right? But the higher I am in that vibration, then I can just have that thought, and literally someone can knock on my door and say, hey, do you want this yacht? I mean, it's possible, right? It's possible. So it's part of connecting to all that is, and being able to cultivate that creative mindset is also really important. So we talked about the senses. That creative mindset is that growth mindset. It's that open mindset. It's that playful mindset. We have our intuition course that some of you are part of. And what do I always say? This is kindergarten, right? We're playing with this space. Why? Because when we think about our intuition, it becomes so serious, because we're either kind of right or wrong. But when you're in that kindergarten space, so even in this stepping into creativity, we want to be in that kindergarten space where we're just going to play. And if something falls and breaks, we giggle about it, right? We laugh about it. It's like, oops. And we can have fun. So what does that do? It allows us to experiment more. It allows us to take risks more. It allows us to learn from failures. And that helps us foster our creative abilities. I was heartbroken, because my son used to be a great artist. And 3, 4, 5 years old, would always draw, and he was always drawing, and he was writing. He was a writer and writing stories, and was just so tapped into creativity. And I was heartbroken because one time he had a drawing assignment, and it was kindergarten, it was homework, and he drew it, and then all of a sudden, all I see him is crumple it up and throw it away. And I was like, sweetie, what's going on? He's like, oh, I don't like it. And really, what is he saying? He's starting to get judgment around it, right? That's what happens when we get into school. It's got to be within the lines. It's got to be this color. You've got to follow the numbers. You've got to do it the right way, which absolutely strips our creativity. And so what we want to do is deprogram ourselves from doing things the right way. Now, obviously, there are things we have to do the right way, right? We got to drive on the right side of the road. We got to follow the red, but tapping into creativity is letting go of that need to be perfect, being able to learn from our mistakes, being able to draw outside the lines, being able to paint big, colors, and who cares if it becomes a big blob. It's taking risks. When you look at every successful person in life who has, even Elon Musk, we think he started with PayPal, and then he went on to Tesla, and then SpaceX and everything. I just saw an interview recently with him, and he's like, I developed games. It was Mark Zuckerberg. He's like, before Facebook, right? He's like, I developed this, and these games, and this program, and this software, and all of this stuff he did before Facebook hit. Same thing with Elon Musk. I don't remember specifically what he had done, but he had a lot of trials before he landed on something that was successful. The problem with most people is that they're waiting for things to be perfect before they say yes, they commit, they go full into something. And so that creative mindset allows us to Be willing, be okay playing, and be okay spilling and making a mess and doing it sloppy and taking risks, because that's going to lead you faster towards what you want. And it also, again, opens you up to ideas, because that one messed up thing will give you an idea for what you're really supposed to land on. And so unless we take those baby steps, we're never going to get to what truly is going to stick or manifest in a big way. It's like that's the bridge, right? Our imagination, our creativity acts as a bridge between our desires and their manifestation. And we're never even going to get to that if we don't allow ourselves to dream and make mistakes and do it wrong. Like I always say, do it messy. Do it messy. Do not try to be perfect. Nothing great was ever created by trying to be perfect the first time. So we want to just be able to jump right in. And when you look at every great thing that's been invented that came from history, it was always someone's crazy idea. I was in a room with a bunch of multimillionaires and billionaires one time. And it was an awesome group. Like, I mean, I wasn't intimidated. I was just like, I was blown away. And even the person that invited me asked, like, are you okay? You know, because I was very quiet. And I said, oh, I am fine. I'm just happy to be a fly on the wall, listening to the conversations around me. And these are people that have invented incredible things. And, you know, like an example, one person was literally laying fiber optic cables on the ocean ground floor from the East Coast to Europe. Like, I can't even fathom what that involves, because apparently there's parts of the ocean that are, you know, hundreds of miles deep. Another one has the prize for fixing world problems. So this cocktail party was gathering all these billionaires and millionaires because they were going to be donating, you know, tens of millions of dollars to these prizes to handle global problems like poverty, providing internet service to every square inch of this planet. So it doesn't matter where you live in an indigenous, you know, country, you can have an iPad and give yourself an education. World education was also one of those prizes. So if someone solves those problems, they give them millions of dollars. Anyway, that was beside the point. But I was a fly on this wall with geniuses that had no boxes. And the person that was running this, actually, I'll just give you his name. He's in the Tony, Peter Diamandis. He wrote the Abundance Project. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but I asked his assistant, like, what's it like working for him? And she said, it's challenging, but it's pretty incredible, because he comes up with all these ideas. And a lot of them are what other people would say is impossible, and he doesn't hear impossible. He just says, you know, figure it out. And that's the attitude that he wants around him. She said he only surrounds him with people that have possibility thinking. There's no such thing as we can't do that. Like, yes, it's going to be something that's out of this world, literally, but he wants you to figure it out. And the only conversation I had was they were talking about books and Kindles, or what do you call it, electronic books. So I'm like, oh, I love books. I read. I have a huge library. That's a topic I can talk about. And so we were talking, and I said, you know what? I don't know if I'll ever transfer to reading from a computer. I just love the feel of books. I love turning the pages. I love, you know, putting my little Post-it notes. And to me, it just gives me that connection to the writing. And Peter was the one that said, you know, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a computer where you open it up kind of like a Kindle, and then you go to a page and out comes a page that feels like a page, it looks like a page, but it's all electronic. And then, you know, it literally turns, and then you've got, you know, another page that looks like a real page. And I just sat there thinking, of course, that's what a genius would come up with, right? An idea immediately just from one little conversation. And I already see there's like that pad where you can write on, right? And then it's like a flip thing. So and I don't know how long ago was this conversation, maybe 10 years ago. So that's when you have this childlike, like nothing is impossible, then you get downloaded with these ideas. And then the next step is, once the ideas are there, then you open up to how to make it come to fruition. So I know I'm talking big inventions, but that's just a metaphor for what's possible for you when you tap into the power of creativity in your life. You know, everything that's invented came from a crazy idea. And so for you, it's allow yourself to do some crazy thinking. You know, like I think bigger than what you think is possible, because what you thought is possible is basically more of the same that you've already created. And so stepping into this creativity allows you to open up to what the universe has in store for you, which is so much more than you can ever even imagine. So that's so again, it's playing. It's playing. And there are certain techniques to tap into your creativity and visualization, or visualization's one of them, but tapping into your creativity and imagination. Emotions are another way. It's when you become tapped into your emotions, that's where, you know, those feelings, right? How many times have you been in a place where you've just felt so full of love, or so full of excitement, or so full of joy, or even, you know, so full of I don't know, connection, that things start to open up for you, possibilities start to open up for you. And so allowing yourself to tap into that energy of emotions, and transforming negative emotions into constructive creative energy, into, you know, because negative emotions are still emotions, we're not going to deny that, but what emotions tend to do is it triggers our stress response, and our stress response shuts down all imagination, shuts down all creativity, shuts down all ideas. Why? Because when we're stressed, there's danger. So I need to be hyper focused on that dragon, or that tiger, or that bear, or whatever the danger is. But when we feel those negative emotions, or those lower vibration emotions, is transmuting them and transferring them to creative energy. It's immediately going to, what is this showing me? And being able to immediately step out of that stress response and that cortisol response, so that we again open up to that creative expression. And again, it can look differently for so many people, for all of us. So a couple of challenges I want to share with you before I open up to you. I want you to kind of briefly introduce yourself, and then tell us how you would like to in the future tap into your creative flow and inspiration and imagination. Is couple of ways to do that. I mentioned a lot actually already, but I just want to kind of highlight a couple of them. Connecting with your senses, slowing down and asking and connecting with, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? Number two is being able to slow down, quiet the mind, stop that hamster wheel of thoughts that continue to regurgitate the same thinking over and over again, because we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts that we think in one day, 80%, 90% are the same thoughts as those that we thought the day before. Actually, it's something like 95%. I like to go conservative. 80% of those thoughts are negative. So what we want to do is quiet the mind, quiet those thoughts, so we can open up to something new. Why do people keep creating the same old? Is because they're stuck in the same thoughts. So we want to quiet the mind and open up. And what happens when we're open is that we get downloaded with ideas. And I'm not even going to talk about taking action. I'm going to talk briefly. I always say I'm not going to do something, and I do it. It's because I want to do it. But that's a whole other lecture. But we have to take action on it. Here's why. And this is just a little bonus. You guys want a little bonus idea? This is like, okay. When you get downloaded with a new idea, guess what? It's because the universe requires that idea have space on this planet. That idea was implanted because it needs to be created in form. And you were a chosen one to bring that into the form. But here's the ugly truth is you're not the only chosen one.
Right.
How many times have you come up with an incredible idea? You didn't act on it. 5, 10 years later, someone else came up with that same idea and they made millions of dollars because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone? Or is
Yeah.
it just me? Yeah, I would say it's probably been all of us have had those ideas. Why? Because the requirement is that it comes into form. You were gifted with the idea. You were challenged with the idea. You said, no, that's okay. The universe is like, all right, let me go over here. So it's going to implant those ideas on a lot of people. I've heard and seen even so much where a book idea, you have two people in different parts of the world writing the exact same book. And one thinks they plagiarized the other or been plagiarized by the other. But the fact is there's no plagiarism. The universe wanted that book out. So it downloaded that book and happened to be two people who decided to write. So wonderful. They worked it out. It was beautiful. It was a story that given by Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love. And she shared a great TED talk on the elusive creative genius, which I suggest you listen to. I don't think she shared that story there, but so act on it. Anyway, that was a little side bonus. But getting quiet allows that download, and then playing. It's important to step out of your daily routine. It's absolutely important to step out of your daily routine because your daily routine puts you in this mindset of automatic pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing new is created through automatic pilot. We want to be able to open up to creativity. And so playing allows you to do that. Thomas Edison, we all know, invented the light bulb. And he had, gone through 10,000 iterations of this, and other people were working on the light bulb at the same time. I don't know if people knew that. But what happened is the filament inside the light bulb, there was nothing that was long enough to be practical or safe enough to be useful. And so he went fishing one day. And while fishing, he was noticing the bamboo filament on his fishing pole. And that's where he got the idea of trying the bamboo filament, and that created a light bulb. Fishing. So we want to go out, break our routine, have fun, play. I heard a CEO of a Fortune 100 or 50 company say, he was talking about his accomplishments that he accomplished in the last year, which is massive. And he said, I did everything that I did in 10 months. I could not have done that in 12 months. What does that mean? He needed that time off. Had he worked 12 months, he would have been running off of stress and cortisol and grinding and focus and all this stuff. So he decided he needed to step out and do something new, do something different. So that playful exploration is required to foster that creativity, and there's so many ideas, we can go into a million ideas of drawing, painting, doodling, writing, journaling, going out into nature, clay, pottery, building things. I see people who are doing woodwork and they're so in the zone, and that in itself is very meditative, and opens up that creative portal for them, and allows them to and I know it's going to bring you full circle, is not only, so what that does is allows them to not only connect with the source of inspiration, which is the universe, the source of it all, but also the means by which we could accomplish that, by which we could achieve or get that thing or magnetize that thing that we desire. And so we start to just naturally be drawn to those things that we want in our lives, those good, juicy, yummy things. I'm stealing yummy from Heidi. I love that word. Those incredible things that just bring us to life, because we're all meant to be alive. We're all meant to be living this full, incredible, loving, fabulous, fun life. And when we step into creativity, we step into manifesting, right? That's what life's about. We require this body to create. So why not tap into it? Why not tap into it? So I'm going to pause there. I would love to open up to questions, or just introduce yourself and share with us one thing that you are going to implement based on what you learned today to open up to your creativity. And I'm just going to let you unmute yourself and jump on in and talk. And you can share and ask a question too. I'm not going to limit you. There's no boxes here. Go ahead.
This was so amazing. Thank you. And when you gave us that bonus, I needed to hear that. It's like, bad news is you're not the only one. Because I've started to write and, some channeled stuff, and then I forget about it. And then I'm like, well, it's going to happen when it's going to happen. And that's okay too. But also remembering that this is not just, it doesn't have to only come through me. And so if I want it to come through me, if that will bring joy and add joy to my life, then to focus and take action. Thank you for that.
Oh, yes, I love it. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
I think for me, it's kind of a reminder to get back to creative practices just for creativity's sake. I love all that kind of stuff. I have art journals. And the thing is, I think for the last couple of years, I've been using my creativity very intentionally, like creating logos, creating, stuff like that, instead of just doing it just to enjoy it. Kind of like how he went fishing. He didn't have a purpose for fishing other than fishing. So it's just a reminder for that. Like maybe I should get back into my art journals, into dancing, into all those things. Because I feel like I'm in flow state when I do that. So it was a nice reminder.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Flow state. Yeah, that's where we want to be. That's where the magic happens. Linda, you're spotlighted. I think that means you need to share.
Well, I'm trying to form my thoughts right here, but I've been focusing on doing some creative things, repurposing jewelry into beautiful objects and stuff, and then trying to market it. But really, I just want to focus on the creating. So I'm starting to think that maybe I can join this with other skills that I have of teaching, and maybe I don't market, but I do workshops and I have people come and create, and then they go home with a finished project.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yes. Oh, beautiful. And you highlighted something else I wanted to share, but obviously there's a million things I want to share. Obviously, we can't do it all in this short period of time. But one of the things, a sign of genius is combining two unlike things and creating something new. That's where real genius happens. When you look at Steve Jobs, while everyone else was we had the phone and we had an MP3 player, right? While everyone was trying to improve the phone and other people were trying to improve the MP3 player, he said, let's just put them together and let's create a computer that has a phone, MP3 player, and a computer. And that's genius. It's where you combine two unlike things. Elon Musk's ex-wife said, was interviewed and they asked her, what do you think makes Elon Musk a genius, and what allows him to do what he does? And she said, what Elon Musk does is he learns one thing, becomes a master of it. And then he learns a second thing, becomes a master of that. And then what he does now is he brings those two things that he's a master of and combines them into something new that nobody has seen in the world. And that gives birth to a new idea. And so for you, you have the jewelry, and about classes, and about, creating a space, and so you bring all those together, and now you've got something that I think is really meant for you. I think would be incredible, and it gives you an avenue and a place to market and explode and share your gift and sell your items even more without trying to grind on this one aspect that
Mhm.
maybe has been a little bit challenging.
Yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, go ahead, Robert. Did you feel me
Yes.
staring at you?
Yes. Yeah, good point. One of the phrases I use is you have to be bold, confident, persistent, with a positive mindset always.
Mhm.
And so many business people, you are working in their business, they have to take time to work on their business. And so, especially during the pandemic, so many owners had to be on the front line that they were not able to work on the business because they were trying to keep the business going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's, your information just amplifies that you need to take time.
Mhm.
That's what we have. We have limited time, and we have to use time in the best ways.
Mhm. I love it. I love it. Yes, and I think both working in the business and on the business is important, but and giving us ourselves the time to see what it's like on the front lines, and then take a step back and take in the big picture. And the third piece is going in to visit another business and see what
Yes.
they're like.
Yeah.
Because that's where you could bring those ideas together. Again, you look at like Henry Ford, he had 5 men each working on a vehicle. So one man would build one car, and it would take them each 30 days. So in 30 days, these 5 men would build 5 cars. Well, he went to a meat packing company and he visited the meat packing industry, completely total different industry. And he saw the assembly line, concept of the assembly line. Never seen that before. He took that idea and brought it back, and then now created an assembly line of 5 men, same 5 men, each one working on one aspect of the vehicle. And so these same 5 men were able to create 30 or build 30 cars by the end of the month. So he multiplied that productivity because he saw something at a different industry. That's creative genius.
Mhm.
Right? So we want to expose ourselves to different ideas and different industries and different people and different cultures. I'm a big traveler. Some of you guys know that. I learn so much every time I travel, and I meet people of a different country and try different foods and see different ways of running restaurants and businesses and hotels and all of that. So yes, different perspective. It really saddens me when people want to stick with their way or the highway, or they already know everything. I tell you, the more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing.
Mhm.
And that attitude of I know everything already, I don't need to learn anything, or I already know that, or I agree with that, or I don't agree, shuts us off immediately to creativity. So I have this philosophy that I walk into every new class, every new book, every new movie with completely blank space plate. I'm open, and I'm going to get new information, new inspiration, new ideas from this. It could be a crap workshop. I'm going to get a lot of gold from it because I come in with that intention of coming with that beginner's mindset. And that's going to open us all up. So when we have that, again, that's that kid mentality. It's, Jesus says, be like little children. It doesn't mean be immature. It means be open, play, have fun, connect with joy, connect with the possibilities, dream, have imagination. That connects us to all. So yes, thank you so much love to all of you, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.